Okay everybody, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now I know what you might be thinking, judging on how you just read the title of this video and you just saw the thumbnail of this video, so I'm just gonna go ahead and skip straight to the main point. I think that Toru Hagakure, aka the UA Trader, is a Nomu, and I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why I think this. Now keep in mind, this is just a theory. You don't have to go buck wild in the comments telling me how stupid my idea is. Even though I wouldn't really mind, let's just try to keep it civil. Okay, so why do I think that Toru Hagakure is a Nomu? Well, it all has to do with how chapter 335 spoilers ended. Essentially what happened was Toru Hagakure was revealed to be the UA Trader because All For One stated to Dabi that he has friends. Just then, as he says that, the camera panned over to a panel of UA and Toru Hagakure, meaning that they have some sort of connection, or at least it's very heavily implied. Now the only two things that I could ever think of at the time, and can still think of now, is that maybe one of All For One's assistants or somebody from the League of Villains probably recruited her and she was just playing a front this whole time, or Toru Hagakure is a Nomu, which would give her a direct connection to All For One and the League of Villains. Now look, Nomu come in all shapes and sizes, so there's no need to body shame, okay? Just because we haven't seen a Nomu in the small petite figure of a girl doesn't mean that they don't exist, okay? Dr. Garaki is kind of sick like that. I remember just a couple of weeks ago, I was rewatching the entirety of My Hero Academia, including the movies by the way, and I remember a scene in season 5 when Oboro Shirakumo, aka Kurogiri, Aizawa, and President Mike were in the same room talking. Just before that scene, I remember something that Gran Torino told Aizawa, and it was something that All For One said himself while he was behind bars. He likened taking quirks from UA as a villain to being like a hungry dog at a dinner table, waiting for his master to drop scraps, which is a line that is so sick. That gave me chills, bro. But it honestly makes this theory a little bit more stronger, because if I think about it, All For One could definitely pull off something like this, especially with all the quirks that he has. Is it so wrong to think that in one point in time that he had an invisibility quirk that he gave to her after her Nomu body was constructed? I don't really think that it's too far off. Plus, if you really look at how the evolution of Nomus had progressed throughout this series up until this point, I mean, when we first saw a Nomu, it was the one that fought All Might at the USJ, and of course Kurogiri too, but we didn't know that at the time. But we can note that the progression of Nomus has gone from the first one that we saw at the USJ to things like Kurogiri and possibly Hagakure, with their speech becoming more coherent and them being able to make decisions on their own. And then we end up with high-end Nomus like Hood, or the ones that were in the Paranormal Liberation War, or even as recent as the Nomu that Shigaraki rode into battle on versus Star and Stripe. Now, one question that I imagine some people having about this theory of mine is that high-end Nomu didn't start appearing until later on in the series, since I don't think we have confirmation that Kurogiri was a high-end Nomu, and the Nomu that were speaking coherently didn't show up until the later chapters, or at least as early as the Endeavor fight. How could Toru Hagakure be a Nomu? And to that I have an answer, and that's simply that the Nomu project has been in effect for a number of years. I mean, we know that Bakugo's kid friend with the devil wings was turned into a Nomu by Garaki. Horikoshi even confirms this. So it's not that far off to believe that Dr. Garaki, being always in his lab and in service to All For One, ended up having a breakthrough on these Nomu sooner than we realized. And another question might be that if Toru Hagakure was created by Dr. Garaki, why would I even bring up the sentence that All For One told Gran Torino about being a dog at the bottom of a dinner table in reference to talking about stealing quirks from UA? Well, I simply just said that for two reasons. One, because it was cool, and two, because if All For One was able to say that, then why wouldn't he try to infiltrate UA from the inside instead of just taking quirks from whatever strays may have wandered, for lack of better words? I mean, think about it. If All For One was evil enough to turn All Might's master's grandchild into the main villain of the series, then he was definitely evil enough to do something like this. Alright, so quickly let's go over everything that we know so far. Toru Hagakure is a UA trader who has a connection to All For One and the League of Villains, somehow. I believe that this way is through her being a Nomu, as she was created by Dr. Garaki, presumably before the beginning of the story or around the same time everybody in Class 1A was born, since she has to be the same age. The fact that she's able to move on her own and able to speak coherently so that she can communicate with other students and people of the normal world means that Dr. Garaki was closer to creating high-end Nomu than we thought. meaning that the high-end version of the Nomu project probably started with her, or Kurogiri, depending on when she was made. Toru Hagakure being a Nomu not only gives All For One and the League of Villains insight into the plans of the heroes and UA, but it also allows for a little bit of a scout for All For One specifically to target kids with amazing quirks, as shown in the past and further proved by his statements to Gran Torino. Keeping in mind that we really can't put anything past the League of Villains and All For One specifically, I think that this theory could probably hold true, but we'll just have to see in the next chapters of My Hero Academia. I hope you guys did enjoy this little theory of mine. If you did and you want more content similar to this, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button and join the Reaper Hero Agency today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.